audibly acceptable audiobooks. Right now, you can get over 100,000 million books through the Karak's audio bookstore. New York Times classics like I Married a Werewolf, Teen Bruisers, What Is This Dark Spot, Why Can't I Pull Off My Own Face, and the classic award-winning self-help book, How to Staple Your Mouth Shut by Here is just a small sample of the audio quality that you can expect. He flicked the hair out of his face, the sweat beading off of it, his weight pressed down on her, his lithe form finding comfort in her curves. There was a sensuous quality to her body he couldn't get enough of. He slipped her bra off smoothly and tossed it onto the hard concrete floor. Bill patted the old Corvette with one hand. That's it, baby. Let me know all your secrets. An entire world is waiting for you. Just download them on the go to your Android or that one company that fucking hates headphones, so they remove the port completely. Listen on the go. Pretend you're busy so you don't have to engage with others in society. And that's right, you can do it all from the comfort of your little safety cocoon of sound, you goddamned introverts. It's best if you also don't make eye contact and beat your head like you're cooler than everyone else is. Just $19.99 a month plus taxes and fees and VAT times 2, or our subscription service that's only $19.99 a month plus VATs and fees and service times 2. And allowing our tracking cookies, you can have instant access to all that you desire when it comes to the audio realm. So join Karak's audio and audibly acceptable audiobooks now, for when your eyes are just too fucking lazy to move side to side. And remember, you can't cancel at any time. Karak's audio and audibly acceptable audiobooks. Let's just stop moving as a species, you fatties. Today's podcast is brought to you by Karak's audio and audibly acceptable audiobooks. Right now, you can get over by the way.
There we go.
If they're not moving, they look fine. But the moment one of those
Really?
eight-legged centipede-looking pandas try to move her, yes, they look like.
Why not just make the Half-Life 3 cupcake and sell it to everybody, right? Even if it leaves a terrible taste in your mouth, people will still have bought your cupcake. And the analogy breaks at some point, so bear with me, right?
And this one time, my mom bought me a shirt, and I was in high school, and I'd been powerlifting and then stopped. So I was like, fucking 280 or something like that. And they were buying for 190-pound kid. So it was like a medium. And I put that on, and it was like a sausage roll with legs, man. And my mom would not stop demanding I put it on. And I'm like, put it on, put it on. Your grandma wants to see it. This might be her last year alive. And I'm like, well, we're not going to die and have the last memory in her life be of me squeezed into this thing like a toothpaste. He'd have dinosaurs delivering your What if all you heard was a scratching at your door, and it's like,
it has really small hands, so it can't really carry
and
stuff.
so it's like, it's got the box, but it's holding it like a like this. It's all, here's your pill.
You
But
might need to package that.
it'd be a
in
surprise
more
mechanic.
marketable format.
Occasionally, the box would
Surprise
open,
mechanic,
and there
there you
wouldn't be
go.
a Tyrannosaurus in it. And other times, so what if there was $1 million in one canister? You drop a railroad car, soundproof, so you can't tell. You drop a railroad car, and there's either a rabid Tyrannosaurus, probably already rabid. So, but you get a Tyrannosaurus in one, maybe some guns on him,
Fairly.
and then the other one's got $1 million. And you're like, everybody go there, and if you open the door, surprise, you get one or the other. Boom. Gang. Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny and Abzy doing the Best Gaming Podcast. We are at number one. No, one.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you today,
Just
man?
What's up, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with Abzy and Johnny, and we are doing the Best Gaming Podcast number 417. Almost to 420. Just going to show up just rotten.
Hell yeah,
420, just everybody will be ripped. It'll be the first time I ever do drugs. We're going to be screwed. Like, who knows? Who knows what that's going to end up turning me into? But I want to say thank you to everybody who shows up. I absolutely appreciate it. I have tried to fix the stream. I think we've got it fixed. We had some issues where OBS decided to give it all the bits. It was at 800 megs a second, which
Nice,
is
It's primo,
740 more than I have available. So I only have a 40 megabyte update. I have no clue what was going on there. But thank you, everybody. I see chat is active. Thank you very much for doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, I did see that we ended up shooting to number one in the podcasts on iTunes for games. We got to number one. We were going up more and more. It's been very cool. Yeah. Yeah, right. Infamous. Make sure if you get a chance, spread the word that we're doing this on Twitter and YouTube. And if you don't want to, then just sit back for a discussion that's going to include some games. For the Best Gaming Podcast, we don't talk about games the entire time. Now that I think about it. Jesus Crust, what's up, dude? Thank you always, Jesus, for the incredible questions you always have in the podcast. You literally, like, whenever I see your name, I know it's going to be a cool question. Now, don't do a necro, And the moment I give him a kudo, he falls apart. Right? We know how Necro went. Don't do a Necro, man. I'm giving you a kudo. You got it. It's almost like when somebody gets a good performance review and they start going to shit.
Yeah, that's
right?
like the opposite of a dog, dude. You
It
praise
absolutely
them and then they
is.
do the straight up opposite. They don't want no fucking treats, dude. They just want to make your life a living hell. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's absolutely true. You've never heard the Karak Audible audio book? Oh, my sponsor that I had running. Yeah. Just like to mess around with those. Gang. People are talking about Mirage. People are talking about... Oh, somebody has a happy birthday. Jason has a birthday today. Congrats, Jason.
Happy birthday, Jason. You
happy
win
birthday,
Lords
Jason.
of the Fallen.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. Anyway, thank you, everybody. We're going to try to keep this positive. A bunch of shit's going on, obviously, in the world, but we try to stay mostly clear of that and just talk about cool shit with games. First thing we're going to talk about is what we have been playing, but I want to go first, and there's a reason. I talked about Wildcard football with the Abmeister there, Wednesday, and I liked it, and I said I liked it. However, what I saw was microtransactions. What I thought I saw was microtransactions in the review period with the store off, which is very usual. Ubisoft, Rage did it, where they have microtransactions, they turn the store on later, and you have to do a lot of guessing. What I found out, and this is awesome, his name's Rob. I've dealt with him for years. He was on the podcast a couple years ago as a PR guy. He's awesome. Sandbox Strat. He DM'd me and was like, actually, those aren't micros. Those are the deluxe versions of the game. So when you get a deluxe, you get a team.
You get extra stuff, yeah.
You get some extra stuff, yeah. And there's no micros in it. And so I want to apologize to Saber. That is on me. Like, that's something I shouldn't have assumed it was bad, and I did. I assumed it was...
Because we see it so often, right?
We see it so often, no excuse, but I saw it and I was like, yeah, okay, so yeah, they're going to turn on, and then I told Absy, I was like, well, I like the game anyway. I don't even worry about that. I just hit best football players and go for it. And luckily, I didn't have a diatribe about it, but I do want to apologize to them because I do sort of like the game. And it's, I don't know if you've heard anything about it, Johnny, but it's basically like a backyard football, but like the professional names are in it. So it's like you're playing in some crappy stadiums or crappy like backyard high school fields, but you can get Warren
some of the
Sapp.
top guys.
Yeah, some of the top guys, and put them in there. But you can dress up like birds or Tron or fucking medieval knights,
so
and
it's
just
goofy.
It's goofy, yeah, but it's got the over-the-top tackle animations where you pick people up and 7 people pile drive them onto the ground. It's got
NFL
that
Jam, basically.
Yeah, it's NFL Jam, basically. That is basically what it is. What have you been playing, Absy?
The fuck have I been playing, dude? Nothing, man. What did I play? I didn't play anything, dude.
Last couple days, yeah, because it was only Wednesday when we did the podcast.
I bought New World on sale for like $5 with the expansion.
What's
for
New World?
Another $10. It's an Amazon Game Studio that was very horrible at launch, but apparently it's great right now.
Awesome. Okay.
Just something to throw on while I watch stuff or do stuff or at work or whatever the fuck, just chopping trees and shit. Other than that, I bought something? War Tales. We talked about.
Yeah,
that.
We talked about War Tales. We talked about it in the podcast and in that huge Discord chat yesterday, which was awesome.
I recommend playing with permadeath and all that good stuff turned on, and naming your characters and all that shit.
In War Tales.
Cool. In War Tales, yeah. All those XCOM type games, I think permadeath just works really well.
Yeah, naming is really underrated, by the way, because when you lose someone who has the name of a friend or something, you go, damn,
or just
dude,
a name you simply created, you gave birth to a child right there.
Okay, that too. I always name them after people I know.
Me too.
Yeah, so the systems in that game is pretty cool. It's not like a linear story or anything. And all the characters are voice acted. Literally every single NPC.
Oh,
you
wow.
talk to is voice acted.
Wasn't expecting that.
But it's like a system-based game where there's just a bunch of systems, and that creates your story, if you know what I mean. There's no kind of linear path or anything. It's just what you do and who you talk to, and you're basically a group of mercenaries, and you can get in all sorts of shit. You know what I mean? Raise suspicion by stealing too many items. Get wanted, and then become an enemy of a certain faction, and just a bunch of systems playing together to make this kind of your own personal experience or story.
Mm-hmm. How much was War Tales?
I bought it for $5 or $10 or something. It was on sale as well.
Damn, those sales for the cheap games that just turn out to be like incredible.
Yeah, it's a very, very fun game.
SBC says, I miss Silver and Reg. Yeah, we're going to try to get Reg on soon, especially because he's updating his PC, and he's come into voice chat in the last 2 or 3 voice chats we've had and yacked about VR and stuff like that. So he's a little bit more, I guess, has a little bit more flexibility, but yeah, I've talked to him about it. He'll definitely come on, but I mean, he is trying to make a go of making a game. And what was funny is, I don't know if Absy was in this one, but we were in a voice chat 2 or 3 days ago with him. And there's just, we're all talking about stuff, and I was asking Reg, I'm like, so have you got to the point to where the game's fun part is gone of making a game, where now you're in the grind? And it sounded like he was
the honeymoon phase is done.
Yeah, it sounded like they were slightly, tearing up to that point, to where it was like, now it's go time, where the people who are like the idea people are like, yeah, I got other stuff to do. See ya. Because the emotional, the fun stuff is over. Like, that's the way it is. A person loves to design a brick wall, but putting it up is shit. I've done it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like designing one's fine. Johnny, you've been playing what?
So I've been playing Starfield. I'm towards the end there, and I've done a lot of the quest lines. It's been good. And I've been playing a little bit of Lords of the Fallen today. It's come out. Very little there, but like an hour or so. Just
and you beat Lies of P too, right? You beat it.
I did beat Lies of P. Yeah. That was a really good time.
Jumping from one to the other is pretty impressive to me. I got to admit, you can get a golfer slap from me.
I took a decompress few days, which really helped me. Yeah, I played that card game that I mentioned last week, Beneath the Orisa.
Yeah.
So that's a great game for you to listen to a podcast and play. I mean, you guys know how those games work. You kind of you can have something good. So I played that to sort of decompress. Starfield has been a great decompression too, because I don't really have to worry about dying too much. It's kind of on the easy side, at least for me now. I have strong weapons and stuff, so I'm kind of just exploring, building some stuff, checking out the quest lines.
Right. And Absy had a quest line of his own, went on a date.
Oh yeah,
the quest of Absy to find hope in a hopeless world.
Yeah.
Was it a good time?
Podcast sometime, dude.
Was it a good time?
Yeah, man, it was a fun time. Dude.
What'd you guys? I mean, without getting into it, did you guys go to dinner, or did you do more of a thing?
Coffee and some dessert and some walking around and
just talking and walking. Dude, best dates. Every best date I've ever had has been talking and walking. Like,
it works when the chemistry is there,
Yeah,
just like bounce off each other. Like I was riffing.
Unless you're on a 3-hour walk with somebody you don't like, Absy, and then you're like,
when I know I can riff with someone the same way I can riff with you, that's like you're like my you're my deciding factor. Yeah.
Like if you can have a random chat with the person,
if I could just go
good.
off tangents and just keep going and feeling good.
Those are the best times too, because sometimes, if for whatever reason the romantic part isn't there, then you might find somebody that's just some of my best friends, especially growing up a little less now, were girls. And I don't know why, but it's like I liked, like we had good times together. And even though I was the way I was, like a lot of my friends had no issue with that. And I ended up having a good deal of them that were like exes that, it's hard sometimes to be a friend with an ex. It takes a year or so, but then you find out why you like talking to him in the first place, as long as you did. And it wasn't just, romantic or whatever. You get that too.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it blossoms into friendship, which I kind of appreciate a lot, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially if they know you, because it depends on how you are. But if you're pretty open when you are dating, then they might even, like, that's what's cool. Sometimes you can be like, hey man, am I thinking, like, is this this thought process stupid that I'm going through? And that person can help you out in a different perspective that, you can't.
Yeah. They a lot of people have the very interesting opinions on stuff. Sometimes it gets me into debate mode, and then I get too frustrated with them because they're stupid. You know what I mean? So, but thankfully that's not the case this time. She's very intelligent.
I had one that was hellaciously pro drug, and I was not aware for a while, because
some shit.
Not that kind of drugs.
Some
no,
PCP.
No, dude, come on.
was she doing the lean?
Oh man, yeah, like the videos of like downtown drags.
Slouching down.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that, but it was.
Hey, what's up, ACG?
Yeah, it was more. It was like the psychedelics and stuff, and I was just, You know,
Gotcha.
I'm just not into that. But it's like
She told
after
you about how Google is taking over the world and how the dictionary is created by men.
Alex Jones or whatever his name is, like
fucking
lizard people,
up in this
lizard
bitch,
people.
yeah.
What was your dessert? What you said you had a meal or what
like
did you?
pastries and shit,
Mm.
like a cake or something. Yeah.
Dude, you carved up.
Yeah, man.
That's a
I just ate,
dangerous
like, a little
game.
piece. I ate
You
a
broke
little
your
bit,
diet.
You know what I mean?
You got a little carby, dude.
No, but but I worked out a lot that yesterday.
Mm.
I did biceps and triceps and shit, like back to back, and I did it right before, so those straight up. I had some wiggle room with that, you know what I mean?
I don't know, man.
I'm feeling good, man. Today I woke up, I wasn't hungry. You know, I know when I'm on ketosis, if I wake up not feeling hungry, that's my
Oh
deciding
yeah,
factor.
for sure. Yeah, you wake up and it's 11 o'clock. You've been up for 10 hours and you're still not hungry. You're like, yeah, I'm definitely in keto right now. Let's talk about games. Anyway, that's the dating game. We'll be making our own dating game here soon. How to be a podcast hoster and date people without getting your shit leaked on the internet. Other than that, there's nothing that I have to pass on. Oh, welcome to the 35 new patrons, 15 new YouTube members in the last like 4 days. We've had a bunch of people jumping in, and it's been a blast to see new people. Yesterday, we had a voice chat with about 30 people. We were talking about D&D, Lost, a bunch of Lost. And it was a cool place to sort of go away. But let's jump into games anyway. Activision, Microsoft, it's pretty much done.
We can stop talking about it, dude. I'm so excited.
Sort of, but yeah, we can stop talking about that part, right?
Oh my god, yo, it's finally through. No, I'm excited, man. I hope they kind of get Blizzard back on track. I hope we see some older IPs. I hope there's some influence there, some more hands-on than usual to kind of steer them in directions I want to see them steered in. You know, I want a new Warcraft, not World of Warcraft. I want a new strategy game. I want some good shit, you know what I mean, from them. So hopefully they do some good stuff.
Can you believe that prior to them announcing this, you weren't even on the podcast, man? You weren't even full-time member. It's been 2 years, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost prior. It's not prior to Johnny, but it's pretty damn close.
It's
man.
like
I mean,
Starfield,
it feels like it. It's like Starfield.
Like
yeah.
when you look back,
we live in a post-Activision Microsoft world finally, and it's like, Jesus, thank God. Like I get it. People were fighting. People loved it. Whatever. It's done. Which is like, let's move on and just this is the future, man. Let's get to it. We can talk about Disney and EA. You know, if we want to bitch about big companies, that's another one to bitch about. But
they did mention Game Pass too, right? Diablo and Modern Warfare coming to Game Pass next year or something.
So listen to this, Johnny. You tell me. I passed this by Absy, and I don't know if he was on board or not, but I have to ask you something. That tweet is basically, we don't have any plans to do these this year.
But would be great.
But dude, like, come on. I told Absy I don't have a plan to piss, but I'm gonna. You know, like I don't have to. Right. The idea of a company saying, well, we don't have any plans, that doesn't. I personally just see them doing Christmas and being like, hey, everybody, welcome to COD Christmas. Here's all your COD games on Game Pass.
Also, they got bought. It's not like, I don't know. That's kind of the point of buying them in a way.
In a way.
Isn't it? To bring their stuff into the platform, right?
That is
into
true.
The service.
I guess I could have just went with business and been like, that's the point. Otherwise, you're just like, nah, we're not going to use their stuff. It's like, why'd you pay $60 billion or whatever you paid?
Nah, we won't put it on Game Pass.
Having no plans is like a non-statement.
It absolutely is. It's passive, right? And that's the big difference. Yeah. And that actually brings me to another question. I saw people saying that Bobby Kotick was saying he's going to stay through 2023. I was a little confused by that. Was that a passive statement, like I'm continuing, or was it I am leaving at the end of 2023?
He's definitely leaving at some point. Didn't they announce a date for that before? But
I don't know.
He just said he's going to stay through 2023. Yeah, Phil has said or kind of hinted at multiple times that he's kind of taken over or someone else taken over.
Okay.
For a while, yeah.
And Craig Jackson says saying that we have no plans is leaving a door wide open. Yeah. Josh L, $5 super chat. He says the best first date was going to a park and finger painting. Now we're married. Finger painting sounds dirty. I'm just gonna say.
I was gonna.
You said finger and then you said painting. There was like 0.4 seconds where I was like,
Yeah. But we were just Jilling. What was her name, Jill? But I think that is actually a pretty cool idea. Going and doing art and stuff like that would be pretty cool. I painted
that's
on
actually
it.
pretty wholesome.
Yeah, that's
Once you
right.
get past the finger part, you know,
Yeah.
you think about the
Now you imagine them asking each other if they can hold hands. You know, it's all wholesome. It's like, may I hold your hand? Yes, you may.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't
and
happen
you
anymore.
like paint the cheek a little bit with the, you know, it gets
yeah.
goofy.
Yeah, like a romantic movie, cupping the chin. You know, I don't know. Maybe people really do that, but I see
You
a
guys are,
romantic
like,
movie and I'm
being
like,
like Charles from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, dude. You guys are talking one way, but there's like another way. You know what I mean?
yeah. You mean
Like
the
grabbing,
double entendre?
painting cheeks,
Yeah,
and
yep.
And
Yeah,
cupping.
that's on you,
His
bro.
one-liners
That's all you.
for
No, it's not. No, it's
Brooklyn
not. Go talk to
Nine-Nine
a
are
therapist.
amazing. Are amazing. He's like, we're gonna all get Jake off, and you're like, oh, come on, dude. And I love when
Yeah.
Jake is like, you had to have heard that. You had to have heard yourself when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Shabley Plays, Czar 9999 super chat. Interested to hear your thoughts on a video called Starfield, Honest Conference. AI is getting scared with voice cloning, etc. Not sure if you've seen it. Oh, somebody did a AI video called like the Starfield Honest videos, you know, where they're like what you really can do versus what the PR says. I haven't seen it, but I do.
No.
I don't know if people were in the Discord, but I uploaded Randy Macho Man Savage being a DM last night that I had made. And it was incredible. He's
Damn.
like, the room is huge. Yeah. And it was perfect, man. It
Dude,
was like,
you know what's funny about that,
scary.
Karak? Since I was a kid, when I read books, I would like project the voice of someone that I liked
onto
as
the inner voice.
narrator. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, for example, I liked, you know, Samuel L. Jackson, Morgan Freeman. So I would read in the voice
Of Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman
No
in my
way.
head,
Yeah.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I got so good at it that I could do it like without effort.
it.
So it would just
It would just
Let's
be
see
Morgan
now-
Freeman. Yeah.
Let's
no,
see
no,
Samuel L.
but
Jackson.
it only works in my head. I can't do it outwards.
Oh,
Right,
shit, man.
Samuel L. Jackson would be awesome if he's like a romance novel.
Oh,
I
He's
just-
like, Lucy
yeah.
grabbed Steve by
Yeah.
the waist. And you're just like, what the hell? Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I
But
read
what's
in
cool about
voices.
that, to tie to what you were saying, like now we have that with AI. Well, almost we have
Yeah.
that with
No,
AI, where you can say, do this in the style
me.
of Samuel L. Jackson.
Do me in the style of Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
There we go. Brooklyn Nine-Nine all over again.
Yeah.
It is funny though. You can clone your voice, and it needed a 10 meg sample. That was it. And I cloned my
Wow.
voice to see, and
Because it used to be
It's
like you
pretty
needed
close.
years of footage.
yeah, dude,
right?
yeah, 2 hours of
You need
footage.
to be
And,
Joe Rogan, like.
yeah. But no, I haven't seen that video, Shabley. I will watch it today, and then we'll talk about it next Wednesday, or in the Discord if you're in
Cool.
the Discord. Arex says, do you guys think Xbox Series S is holding back this gen? So I did
So
a
you did
video
a video
just about
about-
this.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
about this. I think it's not holding the gen at all, but it is absolutely making it harder on some devs whose games hit it. Yeah. I mean, it's nuanced, but I absolutely think that there's times where a developer's like, damn, the split memory is rough. Like, and it's slow. That shit's DDR2. I mean, damn. The second set of RAM in that Series S is mind-numbingly slow.
Yeah,
So.
I thought it was interesting how you discussed kind of like for the first time, it isn't an option to just lower resolution.
Yeah.
Because for so long, that's been the
Absolutely.
saving grace, right?
Yep.
Because you could say, well, you know, you can run the same game, just lower res, and people are okay with that. But now you're saying, wait, we can't run the game at all?
Yeah.
Like we have to actually, you know, develop 2 branches of the game or something?
Yeah, well, you guys and myself, I think we've talked about this in a roundabout way without noticing it. There's been times where we've all talked about a PC game where we joke about somebody not saying their settings when they say, I can't get 60 FPS. And I'm like, well, what
Yeah.
settings are we talking about? Like
What
ultra
settings?
or low? I think that's almost what we're talking about. Is it's no longer just the res, it's the settings. It's like
Yeah.
hard shadows, SSAO,
Occlusion.
occlusion,
all
all
this
the
extra.
ambient occlusion is a bitch, isn't it? Do you guys ever notice that with ambient occlusion, you can turn it almost to low and it looks, you get like 15 frames per second more, but it's like
Yeah.
the difference
I can
is
barely notice it very often. Yeah.
yeah. We were talking about ray tracing, feeling like not we were lied to, but that it hasn't turned out to be the magic. I would say ambient occlusion is awesome, but it's also turned out to be problematic with like frame rates, and it really hits a lot of games hard. Like a lot of games, you start to see it, and you're like, damn, man.
Yeah.
I almost just you know, just
It's
Yeah, like
weird too.
contact shadows and shit
contact
like that.
shadows.
There's a lot
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of
that's
stuff that doesn't
costly.
really make a big
Yeah.
difference. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, or that you're running and you're like, would I notice this that much?
Cloud textures, cloud resolution, dude.
in Ubisoft games, turn it on
Yeah,
ultra, lose
dude.
20 FPS, and you're like,
For
what the?
no reason.
For no reason. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Johnny. I
Clouds are
think I talked
supposed
over
to
you.
be blurry.
Yeah, right. You're not.
You
Yeah,
know
you
what I mean?
can't. Yeah, if it was detailed, you'd be like, that's a cartoon. That's not a real cloud.
Yeah,
We're living
yeah.
in the Matrix. Did I
You
talk
know,
over you, Johnny? Go ahead.
No worries. I was just gonna bring up the stuff with RTX that annoys me is how we've taken a step back with the reflection stuff, because we had figured out how to emulate reflections of yourself in the world. Like, you know, I played Hitman Absolution, and you could see yourself in the mirror, and
Yep.
it looked fairly
Yep.
convincing, right?
Yep.
That's an old ass game, dude.
I know.
It was a solved
agree.
problem in a way. And now you have like Cyberpunk. I know I rant about this every time, but just the fact that you can't see yourself reflected in the million
Unless you, like, do
reflective
the
surfaces.
You do the
Oh,
like scripted
The interaction,
thing,
scription
And
thing.
such a long
Interaction, yeah.
animation, Abzi, to turn on the mirror. Anyway,
Yeah.
I could go on for a long time, but you
I
get
think
the
it's just
idea.
like in ways it's implemented. Like the way it was implemented in Hitman might not work in a scale of Cyberpunk maybe, or I don't know. We don't see mirrors.
It
in a
makes
lot
me
of-
think that it's not an easy
things.
problem, because
Yeah.
you know, some games have done it. Spider-Man does it with the buildings. Like, you can see
Yeah.
yourself in the buildings, man,
Mhm.
Like
which has
Super
to be more
Mario-
complicated than you
Yeah,
know,
right. Than
seeing
a single
yourself in a
mirror.
mirror
and-
or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Like
Abzi.
Super Mario 64, how it did it was it literally reflected, like it rendered everything a reflection of it, so it was an actual
Like twice it
level
rendered
there,
the scene in a
and it cloned you, right? It cloned you, so you were basically controlling Mario and the reflection.
Oh, smart.
Yeah,
So it rendered two.
Spider-Man.
characters.
I think
is-
Duke Nukem did that as well.
Duke Nukem
Old
did
one,
do
yeah.
that. I do remember Duke Nukem, but it's interesting to me too. Spider-Man's the first game where I used the reflections to fight many times. I would see
Oh,
a
yeah.
bad guy, or I would see like an explosion behind me. Some things are reflected, not all things, but you would see something moving. You'd be like, "Oh my god!" And you turn, because a game where you're in the center of the action is difficult anyway. That's why you have the big spider vision. It's not just because Spider-Man has it. It's because a game like that with that many people, you need to have audio cues and visual cues to. Otherwise, the player's going to get just smoked. But I agree with you, man. I think that whatever they're doing. Like Abzi and I bitch about this all the time, but the pixel peeper shit where people are like, oh, if I look up or if I look down, the reflection goes away in the pool. I'm like, listen, man, if you're getting 20 frames a second doing that better, then I don't care about the reflection
Yeah.
going away. I just don't
Dude,
care.
SSR is like more than good enough for me, dude.
More
It's
than
just,
good enough for me as well.
Yeah, if there's native RT lighting, that like how I talk about this all the time, like how it was implemented in Metro Exodus, that's when I look at it and go like, okay, this is something dope. It's like native lighting, you know what I mean? And no option for turning it off, no baked lighting whatsoever. But like I haven't seen that ever. They never do that because a lot of people don't have ray tracing cards.
Yeah, right. On a PC, they have 2 executables just to do that. So, Javier, what's up, buddy? He says $5 super chat. Reflection in Hitman copies the room you're in as opposed to calculating in the mesh. That's great. That's awesome. I don't know why. I love hacks. I think we've gone away from smart programming in a lot of ways to the brute force. Oh, RT is on the
brute
core
force.
to brute force.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, there's something about Carmack going, oh, textures are an issue, mega textures. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, dude, when he talked
Even
about
AI.
mega textures, my brain exploded. I was like, what are you talking about? That's not going to work. And it had some issues in Rage, but it actually did do what he was trying to do. So,
And in some ways, dude, because you're crafting how it's going to look, you're faking it.
yeah,
You can
I know what you're saying.
craft it
You can
in
craft
a more
Yeah.
convincing or
artistic way
you know,
almost, if you want to
artistic
do
way.
something there. Yeah.
yes, if you're doing just a normal flat reflection, you don't have as much control. I mean, you could, but
Let me tell you where that might pop up, guys. Let's say there's a game where it's psychological and you can look in mirrors to see your character's psychological status versus real life in the game. So like your character looks fine because he's like big, strong, but in the thing, maybe you see that your cowardice is going up.
Yeah,
and so the guy's
that's
shrinking in the
cool.
reflection. How would you do that with RT? You can't. So it's like, I agree with you, dude. That's a. I had not thought about that. That's a perfect point, man. I love RT. I love the idea, but it's a fucking card eater, man.
Even AI, dude. Like back in the day, and I think that might be due to like the scope of games. But if you remember back to like Fear and even Halo and how they scripted, it's not real AI, but how they scripted the NPCs and how they react to where you are. Was genius, and it felt like it was really good AI. And I don't know if they just don't want to do that anymore. I don't think that's the case, but it might be like harder to kind of account for a lot of obstacles when you're in like a much bigger scope, like a much bigger open world, or a lot more dynamic kind of fighting or combat or something like that, where they maybe they just need way more scripting than they used to. That's why we're not seeing them as much. Which is why AI seems like it's way worse now.
Right. And you know what's interesting about Fear is Fear wasn't just that the AI was pretty good. It's okay. But what Fear does is the AI decides what it's going to do, and then it sends the information to another AI in the room, and then that AI yells for them to do the thing they're going to do. So it tricks you. So they'll say flank right. The AI was already going to flank right. It actually decides, tells the other AI, the AI then barks. That is high level. Like that is so awesome.
Like
60. Yeah, that's some Star Trek chess right there. ACG is funny. He has 36-hour day, reading 10 books a day, training at 3 a.m., then gamer reviews. Why don't you two just set something up without him? Yeah, they could. Or why not? Why not? You don't like me? Why are you here? Come on, man.
What?
I don't know. He's saying you guys. He's saying that like I shouldn't be here on my own podcast. We get that sometimes, where somebody will just be like, dude,
go out there and make more reviews or something.
Oh, it wouldn't. This doesn't impact reviews. In fact, this has now, because I enjoy myself more on Wednesdays, Abzi and I do the podcast. I did more work on this Thursday than I think I've ever done in my life. I did more patron stuff, like, because you're lifted up by it. Like, even Abzi that one time, he's like, I don't know, I'm not feeling the hottest. And then you come into the podcast, and like 5 minutes later, you're like, Jesus, thank God we did this. Because mentally, it's a good break.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
SSR is widely used as offers a good. This is Javier, who, by the way, is a developer. He says SSR is widely used as offers a good balance between performance and quality, but only shows what's on screen. Yeah.
That's because it reflects it in the screen space.
Although I have to say, in the defense of RTX, because we're just kind of like shitting on it a little bit. I love the real shadows of yourself in the world, because I don't know if you noticed in older games where you talking about
self-shadowing, where you see it on yourself, or are you talking about it on the ground?
Like on the ground.
Okay.
Because in some games I will look at that, and also from other stuff too in the scene, shadows on the ground, and you look at it, and some older games you can see it updating every second. The shadow is like blip, 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 dude. And when you notice that, which you may not actually, if you're not looking, but when you do, you can't stop seeing it.
Right.
And then when you see the natural looking shadows and how they move, that to me did make a difference in Cyberpunk and a couple others.
How many games in a real world, open world, real time game, you'll be sitting on a bench and you'll see those shadows go pop, 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 yeah, it's rough looking. By the way, love the audio focus on. This is McDeet, no name. By the way, love the audio focus on reviews. Really nice compliment to the other great takes, amigo. Thank you. Audio matters, man. There's I'm covering some games here in the next couple days where it's
like Lords of the Fallen shitting on the sound design, right?
Lords of the Fallen. I haven't yet.
The sound design is terrible.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second because I haven't heard that complaint. Okay. Devs are so good at baked lighting, dynamic lighting, that RT isn't necessary. It really improves older games, which aren't made with modern techniques. Yeah, like Reshade has that one thing where if it's got the proper depth buffer, you can add RT to it. It's pretty rough on your card. You need like a 2080.
Yeah, I had in Final Fantasy 14, I was running some ray traced ambient occlusion through a reshade.
Right, through a reshade. Did you notice a big FPS? Because I did. I noticed a pretty hefty FPS.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking like minus 50 FPS.
Yeah, I was like, it was. And some of the games, when you're here, you're just like, holy crap, this game like absolutely smashes the FPS when reshade's on. So it can be one of those things. Alpsfish says we aren't shitting on it. It's just it isn't very well executed. Yeah, I mean that is the way it is. Amood, what's up, buddy? Love the podcast. It's live. I finally caught it. Hey, Amood, I don't know if you saw this, but in what's the car game? Rocket League. Did you guys see Rocket League has turned off the player-to-player trading, or has decided to go?
There's trading in the game.
Yeah, so I talked to Fado Baptiste, and he was saying that you get these items at the end of the thing or whatever, and you can trade between players, and they're turning it off. Epic has decided to turn it off, which, so you guys don't play enough, I guess, to know why that would be a positive or negative.
Like skins?
I think it's probably skins or items, maybe trophy stuff. I don't know.
But was it trading for money like Valve used to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this pop up, and Fatal was like saying that for Rocket League fans, it's a mass. It's almost like, do you guys remember when Steam turned off? They wanted to stop sales of hats and stuff for a small amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. So it's one of those kind of things.
It always sucks to just take away a community factor of something. You know what I mean? Like how D3 was like, oh. Well, no, D3 had but that's a bad example. The auction house, but a lot of ARPGs how they're like, oh, there's no trading because that ruins the
economy
idea of a looter game, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But I love just you know, even if you're playing in your own game, like a single player game, just kind of having a community thing there. You know what I mean? Like whether it's like economy based or a Strand type game. You know what I mean?
Strand type game. Aries says, anyone checked out Steam Next Fest yet? Anybody? Unshrouded was in that, right? Unshrouded was in the Next Fest, I think.
I played some RoboCop.
Yeah, we're going to talk about RoboCop. So, well, we finished. Yeah, let's just jump to RoboCop real quick. I've heard, so I don't know if you agree with this, but I heard a lot of people say they actually, other than the stuttering that you also indicated, that a lot of people actually really enjoyed the way it played.
Yeah.
Is that true? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think it's kind of like an immersive sim light. It's kind of like Deus Ex, but arcadey Deus Ex, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of interaction, there's a bunch of destruction in the environment, there's a bunch of skills, there's like dialogue stuff. There's like missions that where you just go like put like traffic tickets and stuff like that. I think it has a lot of cool stuff going for it. You can pick objects up and throw them, or pick enemies up and throw them and punch them and shit. But yeah, it's just like a fun game. I don't think like it's anything crazy or insane. I think fans of the movies, especially the first two, like hopping into this would enjoy it a lot because it stays true to that kind of
that was going to be my question. Are you the Peter Weller character? Are you the original like RoboCop?
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure he voices him too in the game, right?
Peter Weller does? Oh, dude, sure, if he does, that's awesome. I don't know. I haven't checked that out, but I love that guy, man. Quick. Yeah, he's one of those actors that you find out has like 17 doctorates and does, like, he is freakishly intelligent.
Yeah, it's Peter Weller. Yeah,
is it
Peter
really? Oh, dude, that's like Rutger Hauer doing the Cyberpunk game before he passed away. Observer. He did. I think it was Observer that Rutger Hauer did. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, well I'll check it out because I love him. So Amood was answering the question. He says in Rocket League they trade item for item. You can trade for money illegally, according to Psionics, but doable. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So that is interesting. So do you guys think then that they're mad because of the money part, or are they just mad because they feel that they're not
it's illegal.
Illegal.
Yeah,
the money part
illegal.
is legal. I think the trading items is an interesting question because, you know, is it kind of like Warframe or, you know,
right?
What am I thinking here?
You mean where it's usable in a way, where
you have a market and then you say, you know, you have some kind of game currency. In this case, they don't, but you might say, you know, you have some type of value ladder where you say, you know, this item is equivalent to 2 of these,
right?
Or whatever. It's kind of hard to see how that works.
Aries also mentioned a game. Have you guys checked this one out? It said, take a look at Thaumaturge.
I heard about it.
I hear about it a lot. Yeah, either do I. But I hear a bunch of people talking about it.
Yeah, it looks kind of like Vampire, like just the style of it. Story-rich RPG. Wait, what the fuck is this? Hello?
How did I miss that?
Morally ambiguous choices. In the 20th, early 20th, it's like Victorian kind of. Oh, this looks really cool. This is like turn-based. Oh, this looks really cool. Hello. Comes out 5th of December, and there's a demo out. Yo, this looks stylish as hell, man.
What did we say in the chat though? We were like, dude, it's come to the point to where when you guys mention a game, it used to be where we all knew. We all knew what game.
This is on my wish list, dude. Holy fuck, I'm gonna put it on my wish list.
It's on your
right now.
Oh, you're putting it on. It's not already on and you missed it. Okay.
Dude, this looks really fucking cool, man.
Thank you for the suggestion. We'll check that out.
There you
go. Gathry's Galaxy says, as we speak, I'm playing through some Next Fest demos. Which ones? The one I have heard a bunch of people is the one Abzi and I talked about on Wednesday, the Unleashed. No, it's what was that one called, Abzi? The Unleashed or whatever, the RPG Dark Souls Survivor game.
Oh, it's, that thing, Enshrouded, right?
Yeah, Enshrouded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig Jackson says, look like Disco Elysium to me.
You know what does look like Disco Elysium is this new post-apocalyptic game coming out, I think in November. Oh, man.
Chris says, Thaumaturge, if I'm pronouncing that right, comes out in December 5th for PC. Cross between Persona and Pokemon.
Oh?
Astro says Enshrouded. Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, Enshrouded is the other one. Yeah, next, I mean, they're demos, right? So it's like you jump in, you play these demos of these games that are coming out in a couple months. It seems like an awesome way for devs to get some vocal stuff, because like I'm seeing it in the Discord 24/7 where people are talking about some of these games, Enshrouded being one of them. So
dude, Steam does a lot of cool shit, man, especially for smaller devs. Like there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, especially the wish list thing. You know, it's like
wish list stuff helped a lot. You know, a lot of devs post their game on Reddit and be like, if you like what you see here, please wish list it.
The only thing I don't like
a lot, and like
Abzi is as a reviewer, I'm starting to see it in the review documentation.
What do you mean?
Please wish list this, and you're like,
oh,
dude,
okay.
what if you know, like,
right.
Or tell your people to wish list it, and it's like I'll tell them, you know, like what like. I'm not going to jump into that kind of stuff. It's like here's what it is, here's what it isn't. But I do see that a lot.
You're reviewing.
Right, but it must be popular because it is popping up in a lot of PR documentation. A lot, like premier titles, or you know, if they're on Steam, are popping up in that way. Astro says Pioneers of Pagonia Settlers is really solid. Not a good graphics aesthetic as Settlers, but plays exactly the same, which is refreshing. Given how Ubisoft murdered that series, murdered it. Settlers was good. I played a lot of that. Did you guys ever do those? The Settlers game?
No.
I call them Settlers. Now that I think about it, I pronounce it Settlers. Settlers. Robert says, hey, ACG, have you ever played Trepang 2? It's like a modern day fear game. I haven't, but I'm seeing it pop up everywhere as well. So I'll probably jump onto that. Yeah, Steam, dude, Steam demo, PS5 demos, Xbox demos, any more demos we can get is great, man. The demo scene is like, that's, if you can get that versus early access.
They made a comeback, yeah?
Yeah,
they made
huge,
a huge comeback over the past year.
Yeah, and it's been great. We've actually seen some bigger games do demos later, which is much more rare, but it's still starting to happen.
Some call them betas. Beta tests.
Some call them early access for 3 years, Baldur's Gate.
Oh, fuck, man.
Jalen says, just joined. What's your guys' opinion on LOTF? Oh, Lords of the Fallen. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I just want to give some shout-outs to those games and the people in the chat. So,
and you know what else, dude? It's cool that there is a hunger from the public to see streams and videos about some of those demos too.
Yeah.
Because, and you can tell there is, because, you know, Ko and these big streamers, that these are very successful streams when they say, you know what, we're going to go through a few of these Steam demos.
Yeah.
And then some of those people, you know, they see the game, they really like it. And like you said, they wish list, and it kind of blows from there.
Yeah,
Are you about to turn that into a negative?
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you're saying. It's just that those people are usually paid. So it doesn't equal the, I like it, but I like it, but a lot of times that's like a get out of jail free card. I like it more with a smaller streamer. there's
Yeah.
a couple people that I know that are like, and I don't mean smaller, like they're 5 and I just like indies. I'm not that type of person, but I mean, and by the way, I talk to Ko a lot. He definitely loves games. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that,
for
but
sure.
I'm saying when you start talking about these big ones, a lot of times those are PR events that are, and I sort of don't want to get that lost in the discussion of the demo, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm just,
That is true.
I don't mean to turn, it's not a negative. It's just, I want to clarify that.
No, and of course they can't like shit on the games, right?
Yeah.
There is some understanding that they're gonna be charitable. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
And
for
Ko,
sure.
I think Ko does a
very
good.
forthcoming. No, he's very forthcoming. I think if he doesn't
think
like
he's-
a game that he's sponsored by, he literally says, "I don't like this."
I think he's forthcoming when he can be, but I've seen I get the preview documentation, and sometimes they quite literally say you can't.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
don't,
yeah, but like,
you know,
I don't think he lies. I
No,
don't
no,
think
no,
he
no,
lies
no.
about it.
and that's why I even reversed it and was like, that's not
Yeah, and-
not what I'm saying. I'm just
And
saying that
what I would say from watching him sometimes is I think he's really good at being honest and authentic with what he's saying, but also being, what would you say, like PR friendly,
Charitable.
or
Good
like
for him.
not
yeah,
burning
good,
bridges.
yeah,
You know
good.
what I mean?
Do you know how actually one of the first times we really talked in detail, not in super detail, but back and forth, was the Dungeon and Dragons Gauntlet game that came out a
I
couple.
remember precisely.
Woo! Man, and we behind the
We
scenes,
played that together, right? For your
we
review?
did for the review.
The Dark
and
Descent. Dark
I
Descent.
saw his stream, and he was very, cordial, but he was like,
Yeah.
which
The
is
thing
great.
about him is that he finds fun in a lot of stuff, even if it's bad, but
Yeah.
up to a point. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like where it's like, yeah, I'm just rolling with this. You know what I mean? And
That's why he's one of the few I watch that's in any way, shape, or form
'cause he's more
big.
positive.
Yeah,
He's more positive person to watch, and I like that because there's a slew of just negativity everywhere.
Not only that, but there's those people who, if a game isn't an 8, they're like, this is terrible. He's definitely like, I skew more towards it. You should still be unless the game's terrible, there's still
Apple.
going to be some fun in it. There's still
Yeah,
going to be something
yeah.
enjoyable.
Mhm.
Wannabe Dev, Ron 25 super chat. Deep Rock Survivors game is another great demo. So I saw you talking about this. I've got it, and I like the idea of the Deep Rock Survivors, but I'm not quite sure, is that their new thing, or are they still supporting Deep Rock? Do you guys know? Are like they doing Deep Rock Galactic and Deep Rock Survivors? And it's like,
I'm sure they'll keep supporting Deep Rock Galactic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's massive. I don't think they'll stop. But what is the new one?
Deep Rock Survivors.
And
it's more of a shooter.
style.
It's more of a first-person shooter, like less of a survival game.
Have to take. Well, it's because Deep Rock Galactic isn't really much of a survival game. It's more of like a dungeon crawler kind of, grab what you can, resources, and like each character has his own kind of abilities that helps you maneuver around the kind of dungeon, so to speak.
Neil S
So I
says,
wonder what this.
"Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
It's okay. No. So I wonder what like putting survival because there's Survivor there. So I
Mhm.
wonder what. Oh, it's single player.
Yeah.
It's a single player survivor like auto shooter. Oh, this is like completely different, huh? This is like top down. This looks like a twin stick shooter.
I was wrong. I thought it was going to be a first person because I grabbed it and haven't played it yet. Okay. Awesome.
Interesting. Oh, it's early access right now. Okay. Planned release date Q1 of 2024. Cool.
Neil says, hi, ACG. First off, love the content. Thanks for the hard work. Quick question. Will you be reviewing Endless Dungeon soon? I don't even have Endless Dungeon. Right now, I am concentrating on Spider-Man 2 and hopefully Alan Wake. I do want to clear something up because people were asking about Lords. I will send out patron alerts saying this is my expected content, and I'm going to make sure in the future I make sure to say expected. I always assume people know that things fall through the cracks, but there's some games where you try to put it all together and it just doesn't go together. And Lords of the Fallen was one of those games that I was covering games, and by the time they were saying a code was going to come in, I literally don't have that much time, even though as somebody said I have a 36-hour day, and I do. But it just wasn't possible to cover it in the way I wanted to cover it. Also, Johnny jumped from Liza P with a couple days between into Lords of the Fallen. I got to admit, man, I told Absy on Wednesday I just wasn't feeling the desire to leap into a dark and really cover it the way I wanted to cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for patches.
Some more super chat. So anyway, wannabe dev. Yeah, I'm gonna check out Deep Rock Survivors, and thank you. I saw you tweeting about it a lot in the Discord. Brandon, $5 super chat. What's your biggest pet peeve? Mine's weapon breaking. Oh Christ, weapon durability. I would agree.
Yeah, dude, and I would say Lies of P did it again,
games.
which is annoying because Lies of P, as like later bosses, your weapon degrades quickly as you're fighting the boss. So, dude, mid fight, you have to worry about dodging or whatever, and you have to
you got to sharpen up your weapon.
Right?
Oh,
yeah, like Monster
dude,
Hunter.
I hated that.
Yeah,
it's like Monster Hunter.
Can they break fully in Lies of P?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh shit! And what happens?
Your
Is
weapon breaks fully, cannot be repaired if
you fuck up.
Maybe with a consumable it can. I haven't checked. But then the only option is to go into the menu, which doesn't pause the game. Switch the weapon in there. So you need to have another weapon leveled up just in case. But yeah.
All right. Yeah. So biggest pet peeve for me is like yours. It's weapon durability. I think Red Dead 2 handled it the best, which is that you still do damage. It won't break forever. It just will do more damage if you clean it. And I have no issues with that. I don't want to play Far Cry 2. I don't want my gun jamming all the time. It gives me like almost anxiety when I start thinking about playing a game and having the gun. I don't mind a gun jam where like you have an animation. Maybe I wouldn't mind that. The very, very rare gun jam. But in Far Cry, man, that was ridiculous. So it looks like they're still supporting Deep Rock Wannabe says. Christopher, $10 super chat, just showing support. Thank you very much. We love doing it. Brandon, this is Craig. He says, I don't mind weapons slowly degrading if, you can fix them. But breaking mid-fight is effing annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dude.
My biggest pet peeve is when there's like mobile UI or UX in fucking games, like big-ass icons and shit, or like just like consoleizing everything. And I like the classic style
soft
stuff,
mouse gamepad.
Yeah. Yeah, but D4 is a good example of that, where there's no more inventory Tetris and everything's just like big icons and stuff.
You like inventory Tetris though, don't you?
I love inventory management. Good, yeah. Like Dredge really tickled my fancy.
Yeah, Dredge tickled. Dredge was great for that, man.
Resident Evil 4.
Evil 4.
You always talk about that, like you like your inventory. You like doing your.
I'm playing a horror game and he's got Tetris somehow, and I'm like, shoot, and he's all. If I move this one step up, and I'm like, just grab shit. But it's funny because we were talking about Starfield. He plays. I don't know how you play, Johnny, but Abzy chooses what to grab in Starfield. I don't. I'm a vacuum. How do you play Starfield? Do you grab everything?
I'm very selective too. Part of the enjoyment for me is learning what I want to pick up, what's valuable to me, and I have a hierarchy in my head of stuff. Like Fallout, duct tape was the shit, right?
Yeah,
or
true,
whatever.
True.
And then here it isn't, so I kind of have a new hierarchy of stuff. And it turns out, actually, in Starfield, you need to pick up surprisingly little stuff because you can buy most of it, right?
Yeah, I wish fucking tape and Starfield gave you adhesives.
So do I. So do I. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, but it's so funny because you guys and me I'll grab it and sell it because it can be currency in some way. You guys are like, currency is inventory in Starfield, and I think we can all agree. Space and weight is a technical, like time, it is an actual.
To me, the time of like going to the vendor, and like that kind of grinds on me. And they don't have a lot of money, so you're always like,
oh, that's the worst. Yeah, I wish you could like invest in them, or like the more you buy from them.
Dude, I have 15K in like harvested organs, contraband.
Yeah, that you can't.
And my dude has 4K. How are you running a business?
Right. I just pretend they bought 4K? Something right before I showed up, I guess. I don't know. But like in Starfield, I grab stuff and then I fly and I immediately go to the ships. And I try to ping every ship. Hey, you want to? And then I trade a lot. But inventory space and weight is an actual currency in Starfield. It's one of the very few games where it affects your stealth amounts, the audio you're putting out. It affects all of that kind of thing. So it's cool in that way that you guys play that. But you guys have a patience that I guess I just don't. I want to sort when I get home. I guess.
think like the sorting, because I look at it and there's something clever about how they ordered stuff too, because when you examine a corpse, it usually you have an order that things are in that's kind of immediately recognizable, so you have like at the top the credits and the ammo. Those you can always pick up because it's 08, and then from there
he knows the weight.
You can make a decision.
Absy, did you hear that? He knew the weight of the ammo. He's like 08. 0.8. That's a nerd right there.
No, ammo is 0. Ammo
I thought you knew the exact number. I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, that would have been
awesome if you're like, technically adhesive is 0.4. So if you, I would be like, Jesus. Yeah, I just grabbed the shit. But it's awesome to hear. But let's check who's a psychopath on this podcast. A true psychopath.
Okay.
When you go to any game vendor and you can sell junk, do you sell it without looking at it? Or do you look at the junk first just in case? Or do you hold X to sell junk? Mirage is a good indication.
It depends, because if it's junk that all of it's supposed to be sold, like sell all valuables, sell all junk. Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna press that. I'm not gonna look at all the fucking things I'm selling if none of them is gonna matter.
Dude, I look at every bit of junk, Absy.
You're fucked.
I know. It like, who's the psychopath? The people who sell without. I sell it, but I look at it first, and I admit I keep some trinkets if they look cool. I don't know why, but
that's cute. Yeah, that's so cute, man.
There'll be like an amulet, and Mirage is big for this. Mirage has all these items you can grab, and it'll be like sell junk, and I'm in there going, sort of like this. You can't even wear it, but I'm like, I sort of like carrying this around, so I keep it. Absy was talking about he wishes he could invest, but I think Mirage did a pretty good job with the tokens. So you do good stuff and you can give the merchants tokens, and then the merchants will drop their price. And I think that is a good step in the right direction for like rewarding you for helping them, ultimately helps you as well. So some super chats here. I want to make sure I get through them all. Thank you guys for the super chats. It's awesome. Neil, $2 super chat. You're definitely my barometer before I buy a game. Thank you. But remember, I may just dislike a game you love. $5 super chat from Josh. Most annoying thing about being overweight in Starfield is that it keeps telling you you're overweight. Yeah, it's bad for your psyche. Dude, fatty, lose some weight. Fatty, lose some weight. It does have a tendency to, always inform you. Do you guys like one alert? Like, so you get a weight alert in a game and you don't want to see it again? Or do you like being reminded? Do you sometimes forget?
I fucking hate being reminded.
You hate being reminded?
No, don't remind me. Fuck you, dude. Oh my god. By the way, you can call Enkidu to scout out enemies. Press the up button.
Oh, right.
Shut the fuck up, dude. I know.
Ubisoft, right? Yeah. Or, 7 hours into the game, Absy. It's still
remember, you can take a potion or whatever, like poison in my blade, and let's go.
Dude, those are some good points, man. We got some psychopaths on this podcast. I don't know who's who, but Wannabe says, man, I keep all the different plushies in Starfield. So do I. I have a table specifically in every spaceship with all my plushies laid out, and it took me a while to figure out how to put them down.
Surprisingly wholesome from you. I expected you to like collect, I don't know, like skulls of your enemies or something.
Well, I do admit I was putting all the bodies of people that I killed in one spot to see how long they stayed in your ship when you steal a ship, and they do stay for quite a while. There are times where you're flying around going like, it's got a smell in here. This has been like 3 days and these bodies are still here. B. Vargas says, sounds like hoarder behavior. However, ACG's room is nice and tidy at least. Yeah, all my stuff, well, except for where I'm working. But, fat shaming the game. Yeah, I mean, it does warn you a lot. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it does.
Brandon, $5 super chat. Do you guys have a game that's considered bad but you still love? Mine is AC Valhalla. Valhalla is loved, guys. Sorry. Valhalla is at $2 billion. It's divisive, but yeah. I mean, so I get what you're saying, but is there a game that is considered bad?
Every single podcast, and
but he might be new. Go for it.
Lord of the Rings Conquest. I'm sorry. I know
you're just gonna repeat them.
I'm not gonna be a dick. I'm usually a dick. Yeah, Lord of the Rings Conquest and Atomic Heart was underrated, I think, but isn't. Is it considered bad? I don't know. I love both those games.
I think it's considered middling. I loved it. I liked
Watch Dogs Legion a lot, and it got a lot of
flack.
Kind of negative. reception.
But I got to admit, guys, I don't think any of the games we just mentioned are considered bad.
Yeah, they're not like actually bad.
Here we go. Narnak69 says Fallout 76. So when that came out, if somebody liked Fallout 76, I would consider that to be a bad, like,
on
people
release.
On release.
Or Anthem. Like if someone unironically
Anthem.
said, or Avengers.
Yeah, like
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Dragon Age 2.
Those ones got pretty hammered.
We're talking.
Now
we're in the zone. All right, all right.
Yeah, so the ones we talk about are the soft get out of jail free answers. But when you look,
we were like, no, those are actually good games. They just got some bad reception. No.
When you look at Fallout 76, if somebody was straight up saying, I love Fallout 76, when it came out.
Sure, it's gotten better, but dude.
Yeah. I think the battle, Mass Effect Andromeda is really fun, Dead Captain says, and I think that the fights in Andromeda are pretty good. The combat is pretty good.
Like obviously, because like it's newer, but like fuck me, dude, the game is so boring and bad. But yeah, no, combat could be fun, you know.
Yeah, it definitely had some good points. It's not like it was just bad.
And Brandon, just so you know, what Absy was saying was, we were just asked that, and as podcasters, it's hard sometimes because you don't want to repeat yourself. He wasn't saying it's bad to ask it. It's just that
different answers.
No, you're not being. But it's hard sometimes because it's just like, do you come up with something new, or do you just say the same thing, even though that is the truth? But then if multiple people ask it, they hear you saying the same thing. And then sometimes I even get some crap where people are like, "You just hate on this," and it's like, I was asked. Like, I don't hate on it, clipping a short from YouTube being like, Carrot hates this game. It's like, dude, you should have clipped the part where the person gave a super chat and just wanted to know the opinion, you jackass. Cyberpunk 2077, I think, if you were on the console, for sure, if you loved that game.
True. Then it was
if you don't care about like morality or like companies lying, and if you weren't like looking at what they were saying before and trailers and stuff, then you'd like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you were following
I had a good time with it.
Listening to the developers and stuff, you'd be like, well, this is not the game that was advertised, and it's still morally wrong, and I don't think companies should do that or get paraded for doing that. But if you didn't, it's a good time.
Well,
if you like
I would
Far
say
Cry,
that
does Alpha Protocol count? No, Alpha Protocol was good, but it was buggy, but it was good. Go ahead.
I would just push back and say, I was exposed to that same media that Absy's talking about. I recognized they misrepresented what the game was, and I hated that, but I still had a good time with the game. I played it twice, had a good time. So I think it also depends. Like, I can pretty quickly move on from what I expected to what this is. And if, it's fun enough for me, I can kind of go with it without like having some, hard feeling.
It's not about hard feelings. It's that like the companies shouldn't be doing that. I
agree with you.
To be advertised in a very very bad faith way, and just like lying and just move on from that and just accept it. Or
I agree with you, but the practical fact is, I was still having fun. Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure,
yeah. No, I mean, I get, like, even when I review Ubisoft games, somebody say, well, the practice is sexual harassment. I'm like, well, I'm reviewing the game. Like, there's like, this other. But I do want to point out, with Cyberpunk, my actual experience was bad. So if your experience is not bad, then I don't see a problem with that. Somebody was saying Days Gone. Days Gone had a ton of technical issues and a ton and some really bad storytelling and stuff. Now it's been patched up to be, I think it's a good game. Not great. And nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear it's a 10. But I think that it's a solid game. But if you have those bugs, it impacts the story plot, the beat to beat, all that kind of stuff. And then your experience was just bad. Like, it was just bad. It was like that experience was bad for me.
Well, like the reason I had a bad experience is because, one, I saw a hollow shell of what was supposed to be, and two, there was a lot of inattention to detail. It's not like there's a lot of things that play into it, you know what I mean, where like I was expecting like a true tabletop RPG type thing, like translated
or an immersive sim almost
person, or immersive sim. Like it was I expected an immersive sim RPG and stuff, and I couldn't sit on a chair. Like a lot of those things just bugged me to just look at the experience and be like, this isn't what I paid for,
signed up for.
And obviously, like, I didn't like the story or whatever. Although I loved the story of the expansion and all the quests in it. And I think the expansion delivered what I wanted, a lot of what I wanted out of the main
absolutely.
game.
There's
expansion.
Absolutely.
There's
Even
no
the
denying choices mattered and everything was great.
Yeah. And even without 2.0, I would like the story in Phantom Liberty more than 99.9% of the quests in the original game. Like, I was like,
the original
damn.
game, it's like what people hate about Ubisoft is just like a blurb of like icons everywhere and just bunch of outposts and shit and menial, just the thing is that it's not much of a sandbox experience. Like, just because you have an open world doesn't make it sandbox, in the sense that there is only one main system everything revolves around, or one main narrative.
Absolutely. It's a good point.
Everything revolves around you dying, and everything revolves around you fighting shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's like at the end of the day. There isn't like systems that you can go and be like, hey, I'm living in a cyberpunk world. It didn't feel like, hey, I want to go and be a part of the world, as much as it is like, hey, I'm playing through a narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm going to read some of their answers. I'm Batman says Tron Evolution. So Tron Evolution, I do remember getting pretty dinged on, but I know a lot of people liked it. Anthem, looting an Atomic Heart is my guilty pleasure. That's what Andrea says. And Andres, I'm sorry, Bone says that looting an Atomic Heart is my guilty pleasure. Atomic Heart.
Right?
Mikkel says